Hello and welcome to Confetti Chat. My name's James from James Douglas Films, but most people call me Doug. This is Frankie from Pink Photographics, and nobody calls her Pink yet. Today we are going to be talking about floristry, and we've got our friend and colleague Lucy from Bennington Blooms to chat to us and hopefully fill in the massive gaps in my knowledge to do with wedding floristry. I was not at all responsible for the the flowers at my own wedding, so I don't know anything about it at all. Couples that are planning a wedding, they've obviously the flower thing. I think it would be really unusual for people to not have any flowers at all. I think there's always going to be some.
Yep.
At the most basic end, just a bouquet that they pick up from a petrol station on the way. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know,
you can do that.
You could probably do that, and you would
bit of gyp.
peel off the sticker.
I would say taking the
sticker off the plastic, and that little sachet.
A bit of ribbon or something.
What's the sachet of like flower food?
No, don't use that. Get rid of that. Go classy.
That would be at the kind of the one end, and then at the other end.
Yeah.
Arches I've seen at ceremony spaces, like huge. I shot a beautiful outdoor wedding with a massive flower arch, and the florists were there. But they were there well before I got there, just assembling that, and then table decorations. Do the couples come to you with ideas, or do you go, these are all your options, or how would you lead that conversation?
I think we build together. I don't think there's a right and a wrong, because what works for one person doesn't work for the next. It's bringing out personalities and likes and dislikes. So we sort of evolve it together.
Okay. How long does that process take from start to finish of like getting the ideal thing?
I see my couples originally when they sort of come for original meetings, so we get through and get a price point together,
right? And
then we meet up about 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding, and that's when we finalise the details, but we'll talk in between. So you're probably looking at about 2 or 3 hours of actual creating the look, if that makes sense. And we can use mood boards and photographs and Pinterest and all the rest of it to help guide, but it's nice with most of my couples. They sort of give me free range, within reason. Within reason. They'll sort of say, this is what I like, I don't like this about that, and so they'll leave me to create. So everybody gets a nice special surprise the morning of the wedding.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
It's the best part of the job. Is
delivering the flowers.
Absolutely, yeah.
I am always, when I am booked to do prep, which is most of the weddings, I'm always keen to make sure I can film the reaction to the flowers. It's such a great, it's a great shot for me.
I would say that 90% of people have a tear shed at that stage. If it's not the bride, it will be the mum or dad. So I like to get there early.
Yes, before the makeup.
Before the makeup, so they can redo it in time.
Thinking about the practicality of the flowers, obviously they're normally very colourful. Often weddings have a colour palette for the whole day. They'll have bridesmaids' dresses that are certain shades. Do you advise with that in mind, when they come to you, have they already picked the bridesmaids' dresses, or mainly, can you say to them, well, if you're having sage green dresses, this will look really nice against it?
Again, different brides, different couples have different ways of doing things. Some brides will come in, they've got everything sorted, and they'll show you a picture and want that recreating. Other brides, or couples should I say, will want to recreate their own look and their own feel, so we'll build something together. And with flowers, if you go for orange or pink, there's not really a difference. So we'll create a look, and then we'll tweak colours nearer the time. So if they haven't got a bridesmaid's dress, we can tweak it nearer to the time.
So you kind of go, this is the sort of thing we're looking at, but we're going to swap some things out to make it match up, so it all just...
You can never 100% guarantee your colours are going to match, can't you? Because flowers are flowers, they're going to do what they want to do.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. It's about learning and sort of matching things. And so people with COVID changed the time of year of getting married, wanted the nice light pink summer colours, but we bought some burgundies in because they were getting married later into the year. So it's brilliant. We can do anything with flowers.
On average, what would you say would be like the average package of flowers for you? Like, is it just a simple bouquet, buttonholes, or is it a bigger
you would tend to find that an average wedding would probably have about 60 to 70 guests, so probably about 7 or 8 table centres, and then a top table arrangement as well that you use on your registrar table or in the church, and then pick that up and put it onto your top table as well and get extra value from that piece. But yeah, that would probably be it. And then you've probably got about 4 bridesmaids, a bridal bouquet, buttonholes.
Who has the buttonholes?
Oh,
this is a controversial thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. So
it seems to be like absolutely everybody or nobody.
Well, years ago, everybody used to have a buttonhole, and it was a carnation wrapped in a bit of tinfoil with a bit of fern with it. Real classy. Can you remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Now it tends to be that I would say, if you sit on the top table, or you walk down the aisle, that's usually most people would have them for those people. But some people will just have one for the groom, actually none even for the groom, and then some people will still have 100 for all of their guests.
I like the buttonholes as an indicator as to who's important.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think now people are sort of like, if it's at the top table or it's your mum or your dad, they deserve those flowers. And particularly a mother of the bride, she definitely is up there.
Isn't there like a particular way that they're supposed to be? Like traditionally, isn't it meant to be like upside down or something?
Traditionally, I'm pretty sure, is it men was on the left facing upwards, women was on the right facing downwards.
Yeah, I
don't see that very often now.
I don't feel the love for the downwards flowers.
I don't sort of like that as much because it just doesn't look the same.
I feel like it's just sort of slipped.
Yeah. Well, that could be part of the reason why it is a tradition.
Maybe.
The thin dress has made it fall, but no, that was tradition. But most people will wear them facing up now.
Being quite a practical person. I love my practical questions.
Yeah, I do, because these are the type of things that I don't ever think of.
Practical? Nope.
No, practical things. Do you have any issues with allergies and things like that? Is there any issues with certain people being allergic to certain flowers? I'm just thinking, I know somebody that is allergic to lavender. So
I'm allergic to lilies.
Are you?
Absolutely, the worst migraines ever. And they're my mum's favourite flowers. So every time I go around to her house, she has to put them out in the porch. It's either me that sits in the porch or the flowers. So sometimes my mum chooses.
Is this something that gets brought up with you?
Yeah, not as often as I would have thought, but it's actually quite good. So I've worked with a few people who've come to me for artificial flowers for their bouquet to try and stop that reaction. But we've worked together to find flowers that don't give you a reaction. So like a lot of flowers that usually, like lilies, it's the pollen.
Yeah, it's the stamens in the middle, isn't it?
Absolutely, and lilies don't get used very often for wedding flowers, so I would certainly try and stay away from that. But a lot of the flowers for weddings are grown and for the colours. And so there's very rarely pollen. So there's a lot of flowers that we use that don't cause any reaction with allergies. And if you've got a good florist you're working with, you can practice with those flowers and when we've got them in beforehand to make sure that you don't have any reaction, because nobody wants a bride crying for the wrong reason on their wedding day.
And even if they chose a flower that they absolutely love, but they did have a reaction to, then obviously you would then be like, oh, okay, you can't have this, but here's an alternative.
Absolutely, and the worst case scenario has ever been where somebody wanted snowdrops in their bouquet, and it was very hit and miss whether we get them because of the time of the year, but we just popped an artificial few in with fresh flowers. Oh, nice. And you couldn't really tell, and they basically got what they wanted. So everything's possible.
I'm amazed. Who
would have thought? There's so much to know about flowers, eh?
Yeah, that's brilliant. So to summarise then, your starting point would be to speak to a florist, not go to the petrol station on the morning of the wedding, probably.
I would say it was safer not to.
Safer not to.
Yeah.
And then so you find a florist that you want to talk to that can meet your needs, discuss budget, discuss the colour schemes,
understand what you're trying to create is what I would say.
Brilliant. Understand what you're trying to create, and then if you've got a vision, great, go with it. If you haven't, just talk about it.
Yeah,
and
anything's possible. Anything is possible, and being creative and the advice we can give you to reuse items. So like I say, something on a registrar table, use that on your top table as well. You can use table stands, which are on trend now, and use those down the aisle. So you sort of get an extra value for money. So sometimes to go bigger, you get better value.
Brilliant.
And we do like things big.
We do, yes. Bigger the better.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Size is important.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says, but it is.
We are talking about flowers, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.